He couldn't save her, and then he couldn't save himself. This is such a tragedy. I think it's not a question of blame. It's a question of being prayerful and understand the consequences of policy. I'm sure that nobody who decided to have a policy would say, and I don't care if something like this happens. But it does happen. And I visited the border so many times over the years, not just in recent years. The Rio Grande has personality. This is not just a little river that you swim across. It has its moments. So I can just imagine how that happened, and I just think it's such a shame for that to be the face of America around the world. So let's just step back from a policy standpoint. This is one of those metered situations where people who come to our country and want to be admitted have to meet certain standards. That's the way it is. But it isn't, and I've had this conversation with my Republican colleagues frequently, it shouldn't be a crime to have a visa, to have a status violation. If somebody commits a crime or is guilty of a crime and they're in our country, prosecutorial discretion would warrant that they are justified that they be sent away. So nobody's saying if people are, but if you overstay your visa or you're coming in, as this family would have been coming in, but they had narrowed the number of people coming in through the ports of entry, so they were coming in not through the ports, and that's not unusual there. I've physically seen that happen there. And again, enlarge the issue, weigh the equities. We're talking about human lives, and let's just subject people to the laws. But we also have to recognize that everybody in America has rights. Everybody in America has rights. And we're trying to make people aware of their rights once they're in our country. But you just cannot say, and there's a disagreement, that anybody coming across the border is breaking the law. Not until there's been a determination as to whether they can stay or not, but just because they're coming across the border, they don't. Now, we all want to have border security and do what we need to do, protect our borders, north, south, east, west, Gulf Coast, whatever. We have to do that. But we don't have to undermine who we are as a country by saying it's a crime to engage in an internationally recognized opportunity to make your case, to come into a country, any country.
Madam Speaker. Thank you. Good morning. Can you describe the time crunch that we're under? I know you say the Senate passed their bill. You're going to pass another version today. You have to be mindful of what both bodies have stood for here. But there is a time crunch, and there's a risk of not doing anything, getting any agreement before the break. Can you describe what that risk is if you can't come to an accord?
Did I not answer this question? One step at a time. One step at a time, Chad. We would like to see if we can have some conversation. And if there's a rejection because they don't agree that we should have healthier medical facilities and nutrition and hygiene and trained personnel, let's find that out. Because it's not more money, it's just how the money is spent. Or if they say that those organizations, faith-based organizations, and the region should not be compensated fully for what they have already provided, well, let's find that out. So what is the objection? They may have some, it's a compromise. So there may be some things that we would yield on depending on the objection they may have. So we're just taking it one step at a time. We, and I say this almost with a sense of thanks for telling us, everyone. We know how urgent it is to get the money and the resources and the changes to these children, and we care very much about them. We just want to do the best we can for them under the circumstances.